Welcome to the practical exercises for our lesson on anatomy of Ansible, unraveling hosts and groups. In these exercises, you will put into practice what you have learned about managing hosts and groups in Ansible. Let's dive in and start building your skills. Before we start the practical lesson, I will introduce a new technique to synchronize folders between your local host and the virtual machine provisioned by Vagrant. This synchronization will enable you to edit files directly from Visual Studio. Here is the Vagrant file for this lab. I have added synced folder configuration to synchronize examples directory, which is located in the same directory as Vagrant file, with a directory in the virtual machine provisioned by Vagrant. Therefore, any file added to the examples directory on my local machine will be available inside the virtual machine in the /home/vagrant/examples directory. This setup makes it easier to edit and create files without the need to manually copy them from my local machine to the virtual machine. Let's start our lesson by creating a public private key so that we can authenticate with our target hosts. So from the Ansible virtual machine, let's execute SSH key gen. Now press enter. So now I need to enter the file in which to save the key. So I will copy this path and I will provide it here. So the public key and private key I will create, they will be stored inside /home/vagrant/.ssh directory. Now press enter and I will not provide any passphrase. So I will just press enter and I will press enter again. Now we have our public private keys created. So let's cat the public key using the cat command. And here is our public key, which I will copy and I will add to all our targets virtual machines. So I will open another terminal here and I will use Vagrant SSH VM1 to connect to VM1 terminal. Now I am inside VM1, so let's type nano.ssh, then authorized keys, and I will paste the public key I just created here. Now let's save the file, and I will copy the public key to virtual machine 2 and virtual machine 3, but I will pause the video until I finish copying the public key to the virtual machines, then I will come back. So I am back and I have copied the public key to virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, and virtual machine 3. Now let's create a new inventory file using the INI format. Open your preferred text editor and create a file named inventory.ini. For me, I use Visual Studio and under the examples directory, which is synced with examples directory in the virtual machines, I created the inventory.ini file. In this file, we are going to define two groups, web servers and DB servers. So let's create the first group, which is web servers. Under the web servers group, add two hosts, webserver1.example.com and webserver2.example.com. Similarly, let's create the DB servers group. And under the DB servers group, I will add a single host, dbserver1.example.com. Now let's save the file and let's verify that this file is synced in our Ansible virtual machine. So I will do cat examples, then inventory.ini. And as you see from the output, I have the same content I have added here. Moving on to exercise 2, we are going to create a static inventory file again, but this time we will use the YAML format. YAML offers a more structured and readable way of defining our inventory, which can be especially useful as the complexity of our configurations grows. First, open your text editor once more and create a new file. This time, name it inventory db.yaml. In this file, we are going to replicate the structure we made previously in the ini format, but adapted to YAML's syntax and hierarchies. Begin by defining the all group, which is the parent group for all our hosts. Under all, we introduce a children section. Children section is where we will nest our host groups, namely web servers and DB servers. So let's type web servers here and let's add the DB servers. For the web servers group, let's add the hosts section. And under hosts section, let's add our web servers. We have two web servers, web server 1.example.com and web server 2.example.com. Let's do the same for the DB servers, but this time we will add only the DB server 1.example.com. So here we need to add the hosts, and under the hosts I will add DB server 1.example.com. Notice how YAML uses indentation to define the structure. It's crucial that you maintain consistent spacing for YAML to parse the file correctly. Typically, we use 2 spaces for each level of indentation. But ensure that you don't mix tabs and spaces, as this can lead to errors. After you have structured your inventory file, save it, ensure it's in the same directory as your ini file for easy management. You have now created an inventory file in both of the primary formats Ansible recognizes, giving you flexibility in how you define and manage your infrastructure. In our next steps, we will explore how to apply variables to these groups, further extending the power and flexibility of our Ansible configurations. Next, we are going to add variables to our web servers group. So let's go back to inventory.ini file and add a new section, web servers vars. So here I will add a new section with the name web servers, 2 dots, then vars. Under this section, let's add our first variable, which will be http_port equal 80, and the second variable will be server_mode equal production. Now let's define the same variables inside inventory YAML files. So here under the web servers group, I will add the vars here. Then our first variable will be http_port 80, then server_mode equal to production. Now it is time to test our inventory files. So from the terminal, let's first check the syntax by running ansible-inventory -i, then the path to our inventory file, which is under examples inventory.ini, then --list. And as you can see, I didn't get any error, so this is a good sign that our syntax is correct. Now let's do the same, so I will execute the same command, but this time to validate the syntax of our inventory YAML file. And again, I didn't get any error message, which is a good sign that I don't have a problem with the YAML file. Next, let's attempt to ping our hosts with the Ansible with the ping module. So let's do Ansible -i, then the path to inventory.ini file or inventory.yaml file. Then I want to test the ping on web servers groups. So I will type the name of the group here, web servers, then -m to use the module ping. Now press enter. And from the output, I can see a success message, which means that Ansible managed to ping both hosts in the web servers group. As you have worked through these exercises, think about how organizing hosts into groups and using variables can simplify managing complex infrastructures. Consider the flexibility and scalability this provides when automating tasks across multiple servers. Now I can say congratulations. You have successfully completed the practical exercises for our lesson on hosts and groups in Ansible. You have taken an important step towards mastering Ansible inventory management. Keep practicing with different configurations and variables to further refine your skills and understanding. And by that, we get to the end of our lesson. Thank you for watching and see you in the next lesson.